I'm Kim Kral. I am reporting to you live, not fuck. I'm reporting to you not live from my closet. Guys, I have restarted this 14 times. Some of them I hit record and then I started drinking water and I'm like, why would I do that? And then others I couldn't breathe. And then some I started laughing. So I'm just going. Here we go. Reporting not live from my closet. Hi everyone. Hi. I have a lot of energy today. I have all this like nervous I got a lot going on today. And then I also just got an email from this girl I went to high school with. So she's your poop scoop today. I was so excited. I was reading it. It's really fun. She said she started listening and she's binging them. Hi, you know who you are. And I'll be reading your poop scoop in a little bit. So exciting. Send me emails, guys. They literally make my day. Like sometimes though, I'm weary to read them right before I get on the podcast because there was one guy. I wonder if this dude still listens because I definitely talked about him a lot on the podcast after I read his emails because his emails were like these weird backhanded compliments that were like, I guess I see what you're doing, but like, and I'm like, don't listen then, man. If you don't like this, make your own podcast of what you want. But like, I like for a bit, I was scared to read my emails right before I got in here because he would send me emails and then it would like make me like kind of like self-conscious about, I mean, it feels like that was like 2 years ago now. So I don't know if I'd still be the same way, but send me emails, kimcrawlspace@gmail.com. My friend is coming over in a little bit with her cat. They're fumigating her apartment. And so she's going to come over. Her cat's going to come over and hang out with my cats for a few hours. And I'm like way too excited about what's going to happen. Like I know Lucy, you guys know Lucy won't be around. Lucy will probably stay in her, wherever the hell she hides. I don't know. I think she's buried. Actually, I was doing yoga the other day in my living room. And I was laying down a different way than I normally do. So I was like facing so I could see under my couch, if that makes sense. And I didn't expect to see eyeballs under there. And we locked eyes for a little bit. And it took me like a second or three to like figure out what the fuck I was staring at. And it was Lucy. So I'm like, oh, maybe she just hides under there. And then Henry, I don't know, there's only one animal. Like normally Henry, Henry's kind of, he's a king, you guys. And he's bigger than a lot of small dogs. So like when animals come over here, he's pretty dominant and it's pretty like evident this is his home. And so they pretty much like, they listen to his boundaries. They might play with him a little bit, but they listen to his boundaries. But there is one animal, Macy, my best friend Katie's late dog. Unfortunately, she passed away about a month ago. Miss you with Macy. I loved this dog so much. She was a little Chihuahua, and she came in. She stayed with us a few times when Katie and Dave were out of town. I'm not allowed to have dogs, and I had this neighbor who was like, one day I came outside while Macy was here, and my neighbor like pulled me aside, like grabbed me and was like, hey, come here. I'm like, and he was a friend of mine. I was like, what? And he's like, do you have a secret dog? And I was like, fuck, you know about it? And then my landlord called and was like, you can't have dogs. But Macy stayed here for a little bit of time before that whole fiasco. And when she first came over to meet Henry, she walked in this place like she fucking owned it. That's how that dog lived her life. She walked into every room like she fucking owned it. And she walked over to his water dish. She licked some water. She just like acted like he wasn't there. And he kept running into the other room and looking at me and then running in back and looking at her like, who the fuck is that? And Macy, I love that dog. I was like, she was not a friendly dog. Not she's kind of a mean dog, but I was one of 5 people that she loved. And I'm really grateful for that. But so my friend Christina is coming over with her cat, and I'm way too excited about it. I keep looking at Henry being like, you have no idea what's about to happen. Yeah, what else? So today is 4/20. I am not going to say something about marijuana. I kind of despise this day over that. Hear me out. All right. First of all, like 4/20, April 20th is the anniversary of Columbine. And you guys know I grew up in Littleton and I had a friend who passed away in Columbine. And, it was a rough time and it's really sad. And it's like a billion school shootings, probably thousands of school shootings have happened since then. And so people don't really know, all the other ones. They know if it was in their town or whatever, you know what I mean? There's just been so many shootings, but Columbine was like the first main one. And yeah, so today's like, I don't know. And I also have this like weird issue, and I don't understand. I have a lot of friends that are like super liberal and like super, like the social justice warrior, but they still are like, ew, 420. And I'm like, it's just such a privilegey day. I don't know. I feel like you should celebrate marijuana and your 420 or whatever when like hundreds of people aren't in jail, mostly black, aren't in jail for marijuana dealing, possession, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people, mostly black people, that are still in jail over, like, incarcerated over this drug that is now legal in a lot of states, and people are like 420. I don't know, it feels like icky to me, and so I don't ever really say anything. I do my like annual Columbine post where I like to, but yeah, I don't know, I like, so 420, like, and I've told my Columbine story, I've told my experience and my friendship with Cassie, so I'm not gonna, I have a couple of bummer things to talk about today, so I don't need to add, but today's 420. I cannot believe, what is it, 2022, 1999? What is that, 23 years? It's fucking wild, bro. It's wild. So, by the time this comes out, which will be next week, but still sending lots of love to friends and family of all, and who lost people in Columbine. And I guess enjoy your marijuana today. It's just so fucking weird to me. It's just so weird to me. And then also, and I'm going to put this out here, I'm going to post it on my social media. So if you're in Los Angeles, if you remember, I've talked about her a lot. I had a friend, Anna Land, who I lost to suicide about in 2018. What is that, 4 years at this point? Yeah, 4 years ago, almost 5. Is that true? 2018, doesn't matter. She committed suicide in 2018, and her brother wrote a play about, I mean, I'll have a better description on Facebook and all my socials. If you don't follow me on that, KYMKRAL, I assume you do if you're listening to this. I assume, but he wrote a play about it. Now with Anna, their family, it's so fucking sad. Their father committed suicide. I believe their brother was murdered, and then Anna committed suicide. And the play is about trying to save his sister, who she was borderline and an alcoholic. And so that play is running the 29th, 30th, and 1st at the Hudson Theater in Los Angeles. And I will be there on the 30th. He is giving me a discount code, so you get 40% off tickets. It's just, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot what I do on this podcast, which is talk about just, trauma and shit. And I think just the more we talk about it, the less isolated we'll all be, So, and I believe the code is Kim Kral, but I'll post it on my social media. This is future, so it'll already be posted on my social media, but it's not until next week, so it'll be a few days from when you listen to this. And I'll post it, and the code will be Kim Kral. So how crazy is that? And I had a comedy show that night. I work all the other nights except for the 30th, and then I bartend, and then I had a comedy show, and I was like, I have to go to this. I'm gonna sob like a fucking baby, but yeah, I just think it's so important that we keep talking about this. There was a woman that committed suicide a couple of weeks ago. I started comedy with her. I think I talked about this last week. It's just, I wish we would all just talk about how we really feel. Being a human is so fucking hard. And especially when your brain is broken and you're struggling with mental illness, and it's just like our society has just for so long taught us that we need to just like push these emotions down, and it's not okay to not be okay. It's not okay to not be angry. I was talking to a friend about anger. And when I first started working through all of my like childhood trauma shit, like I was so angry, and we were talking about it, and just like how people push it down or like stop or like are afraid of it. Now, first of all, anger is a secondary emotion, right? So if you're angry, chances are it's because you're sad, you're scared. You know what I mean? Like anger is like, talk to the primary emotion from it. Like try and find the source of it, because anger is a secondary emotion. But when I was first working through my trauma and like, working through my dad's shit, my mom's shit and all that, I was so angry. And I think it was like the first time ever in my life that I allowed myself to be really, really angry. Like I allowed it, you know. I have this weird vision, and I don't know if I told you guys this, and I don't know if this is, I mean, I have a, when I was like, not a vision, but like a memory of when I was really young and beating up one of my dolls, like in my bedroom alone. And I know, obviously I had a lot of anger and a lot of stuff to work through. You know, my mom was, you know, an addict and in and out of jail and rehabs and, you know, AA and all that. And my dad was, you know, touching me and had porn everywhere. I mean, like, you know, my dad was just a whole, you know, and of course I had anger, but I didn't know you were allowed to have it. You know, anytime you're angry in this society, it's like people are like, whoa, calm down. You know what and so for the first like 6 months, I'm going to say, of ACA, I allowed myself to just be really angry. For like a solid month, I was really, really, really mad that my parents never bought me a puzzle. I mean, I know that is so little, but I was so angry. And I thankfully had my first sponsor in ACA. She was like, yeah, be angry, get it out. You know what I mean? Like, cause I had ran from it, stuffed it down or ignored it or tried to like hide it for so long that I thankfully she gave me permission to just be pissed. It was funny. I was talking to my cousin in this time, and I was yelling about the puzzle and how I didn't have a puzzle. And I'm so mad, guys. I can't express to you how fucking mad I was about this puzzle. And obviously the puzzle is like a metaphor for like all of it. But I was so mad about this puzzle. And I'm telling my cousin, and he goes, I don't want to like add gas to the fire, but I'm pretty certain your parents bought me a couple puzzles. And I was like, but it's just so, my cat's looking at me like I rearranged my bedroom, and it looks really nice. I recommend, you know, anytime you need like a fresh start, you know, just like a new fresh, that's what I always do. I just rearrange my apartment, and it's nice. And it's so funny. I'll go back to the anger thing because I'm looking at my bedroom now. It's so funny. I have 3 walls I'm able to put my bed on, right? And there's one wall that I haven't had my bed on since I first moved here. And mostly I like swap it back and forth. And so I had it on this one wall, and then I moved it to the other wall that I've been swapping it back and forth. And I sat there for like, I don't know, like 30 minutes looking at it. And I was just like, this is so, I don't know if it's symbolic, but where one wall was a guy that I don't talk about very much, but he was a pretty significant relationship to me. Yeah, I don't talk about him at all. He wasn't in the book. He's not, he might be in a future book, but he's not in this book. I don't talk about him on here, but he was a really, really significant relationship for like 3 years. Well, around the time my dad died. And so my bed was over there for that. My bed was over there for the Seattle guy, even though the Seattle guy never slept in the bed. I really was going to say that. I came to that guy a whole lot on that side of the bed. You know what I mean? Gross. Not really. We're all adults here. So, and then the other side was Jimmy the Dragon and the accountant. And I'm like, maybe we should feng shui our fucking room to where it's just a new blood over there. So I have it in this new spot, and I kind of love it, dude. I think it looks really nice. Anger. But I mean, it's just also isolating, you know. And I was reading the woman that passed away a couple of weeks ago, committed suicide a few weeks ago. I was reading one of her close friends said that in early 2020, she just said, you know, I'm going to be off the grid for a little while. I have some stuff to work through. And this woman, you know, was like, I wanted to respect her boundary, but sometimes I wonder, had I not respected her boundary and like reached out to her more? It's just so fucking hard being a human. And so if you get a chance and you're in LA, if you have time, if you want to see a good play, this man is also super talented, I imagine. I've never seen anything he's done, but I do know that Anna went on and on and on and on and on how talented he was when she was alive. And so I'm really excited to see this, and I'm really excited to just, I don't know, maybe heal a little bit more, because that still is one of the biggest, you know, heartbreaks of my life. She was one of my favorite humans. And yeah, dude, it's just, I lost track of what I was saying. But oh my God, I totally lost track of. I wanted to tell you guys this. I think, okay, first of all, what I don't understand, and every woman I know has said this too, I have had a period for a long time, right? Like 20 years minimum, maybe 30 years. No, not 30, probably 20 years, maybe 25, doesn't matter, but a long, long time. And every single, I had a friend the other day go, oh my God, I was like craving these donuts. And she was like pretty hardcore exposed to COVID. So she was like, what's happening to my body? Like, like she's like, is this COVID? Did I get COVID? She didn't get COVID, thank God. But she's like, she's like, she's pretty, couldn't stop craving donuts. And then her period started and she's like, oh, right. Every month, all week, I've been so pissed off and like uncomfortable and angry. And I'm like, God, why am I so mad? And then my period started and I was like, oh, right. How do I forget about this every month? And I like track it. I have a very consistent period. I have a tracker. I'm on birth control. Like I know when the period's coming. And yet every single time I'm like, why am I so angry? Why can't I stop shitting? And then I'm like, oh, it's my period. Anyway, so this week I've been pretty grumpy. And so they lifted the mask mandate, right? The masks, I went out yesterday for the first time. Without a mask. And I didn't have one on me. It was really scary. I probably won't do that again. I will probably still have my mask at least on my person somewhere because I was on Hollywood Boulevard. It was a fucking shit show. But like, I have realized, and I've said it before, I've said it on stage, I've said it here, I've said it to anyone who will listen, but I have comfortably talked to myself out loud in public for 2 years comfortably. And yesterday I still was doing that, but realizing I had nothing covering my face. So people watched me. One guy was staring at me, creepy dude. So I'm glad I'm glad that he got to hear me, but he was staring at me and I was like, oh, that guy's so creepy. What the fuck is he looking at? And then he like double looked and gave me a weird look. And I was like, oh, fuck, I don't have a mask on. Do I? Nope. Like I don't know, comfortably talking to myself for 2 years. I don't want to. I mean, when I go to Thailand this summer, I'm wearing a mask on the airplane. They just lifted that. I'm wearing a fucking mask on the airplane. I'm going to wear a mask every time I fly for the rest of my life. I used to, and I know it more protects everyone else around me, but every time I fly, I get sick. Like I don't have a great immune system. I don't. It took me getting COVID really bad to realize that it's okay. It's not my fault. Like I had a lot of shame around it, right? Because there's like, I know some people who use that as like a weird bragging. Like, I'm sorry, I have a really good immune system. It's like, it's genetics. It's not anything you did. You know what I mean? I take vitamins, I exercise, I drink water, I eat well. Like I'm doing everything I can. I probably would be way worse if I wasn't doing all those things. But every time I fly, I always get really sick. And then since we wear masks on flights now, I have not gotten sick once, knock on wood, on a fucking airplane. And so I'm wearing a mask, even though it's like a 24-hour flight. But dude, I bartended for a lot of the pandemic. So I had to wear masks for like 12 hours. It was fine. It's fine. But I'm in the car, right? I worked this job. I had this job that I had to wear a mask at. And then I ordered a stuffed crust pizza from Pizza Hut because my period was starting and I was having a rough day and I was already blown out of toilet. So I was like, you know what, I might as well just really double down. Gross. I don't know why I feel the need to say gross after I say this, but I went to Pizza Hut to get, pick up the pizza, and the job and Pizza Hut were literally a half a mile from each other. And still, when I go into, I don't know, places like that, I like to wear the mask just because like the workers see so many people. I don't know. I'll be making my point in a minute, so I don't have to make it again here. But so it's like I was in the car for maybe like 3-5 minutes, right? So I just kept my mask on just because I don't know. It doesn't fucking matter. Like I started to take it off and then I was like, oh, forget about it if it's in my lap. Like, I don't want to forget, whatever. Right. And I was just like, just wear it. You're going to be in the car for like 3 to 5 minutes. So I'm sitting at a light and I hear a honk and I see this guy frantically waving at me next to me, this like older white dude, of course. And I turn and I look and he points to the mask and he goes, mouths, why the fuck are you wearing that? You don't have to wear that. And I was like, what? And then he said that again. And I just, just like put my hand up, like, fuck off. Right. And then I turned and looked the other direction. And talk about living rent free in my head. The fact that I didn't just roll down the window and give that guy a fucking piece of my mind, you know how good it would have felt just to scream at some random asshole just for like, and then the light turned green and he would have gone away. And it would have been so fucking awesome. Because it's like, what do you fucking care? What do you care? I've worn curlers in my car before. Like, it's my car. Who, like, you know what I mean? It goes all back to one of my rules. If I'm worried about me and you're worried about me, who the fuck's worrying about you? I was on a podcast, a couple, like, I don't know, last year, Bill Dawes, you can look it up. He's kind of an awesome guy. But it's like a 2-hour podcast. We talked about everything. And I changed his mind about that because he said he hated it when he saw people wearing masks. Like, he's like, there's a guy like riding his bike down the street and he's outside and he has his mask on. And I'm like, why the fuck are you wearing your mask? And he's like, and I'm so mad about it. And I was like, what do you care? And he's like, what? I'm like, how does that affect you? And he's like, well, then he paused and he was like, I guess you're right. I'm like, yeah, who cares? Like, he's not making you wear your mask. It's always the people, dude. It's always the people that like want to push their beliefs on other people that like most people wouldn't mind Christianity and religion if it wasn't like, if Christians and religious people weren't shoving it down our throats. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, most atheists don't go around talking about how they don't believe in God constantly and wanting you to like believe in God. Like, most atheists are like, yeah, I just don't believe in God, but I don't give a fuck if you believe in God. But people who are Christians are like, I need you to believe this. And it's so fucking crazy to me. It's so it is just like, I don't know. And he did say, he goes, you changed my mind about that. I am bummed I didn't change his mind about all the other topics. If you want to listen to it, you can go to, I actually don't know. You can go to my website. On my website, there's like kimkral.com. There's a link. If you hit podcast appearances, there's all of it. And Bill Oz is on there. It's like 2 hours, but it's a pretty good one. It was right before I got my book. I wrote my book. We talked about how I was scared about getting sued. There are people that I see now that are in my book. There's one guy that's in my book that we're still friends. And we like, I don't know, there was a moment at the beginning of the year or the end of last year that we might have like maybe like rekindled something. And thankfully we didn't, because I've read that book. I put it in a book. I'm not interested anymore. But I was like, do I have to tell him that he's a chapter in my book? Oh man, guys. Oh man. I do still have a crush on that guy. Remember, speaking of, I already read that book, the guy that I went on a date with years ago, the worst date I've ever been on in my life. He's not in the book. A lot of people are like, why didn't you put him in the book? Because the book's about me and my self-esteem and how I put up with like shitty behavior for a long time. That guy I left in the middle of the date. That's how bad the date was. But this is 12 years ago and everyone changes. I've changed a lot in 12 years. I hope you've changed a lot in 12 years. That's what I didn't understand in the election with Joe Biden and how everyone was like harping on the shit he did in like his 1991 crime bill. It was like, yeah, I hope I'm a different person than I was when I was 20. I wasn't 20 in 1990, but you know what I mean? Like, Biden was younger. Like, you're supposed to change, dude. There's a meme of a caterpillar and a butterfly having coffee, and the caterpillar looks at the butterfly and goes, "You've changed, dude." The butterfly goes, "Yeah, man, we're supposed to." So like, anyway, that's I don't know why I'm making a case for this, but he didn't respond to me for a couple of days. Here's a big lesson that is going on, and I'm hoping he's not listening to this. I don't think he's going to. And if he does, hi. I think I say this every single time. But here's the thing. Like, so he didn't respond to me for I don't know, a couple of days. This is like a month ago. And we still haven't hung out, but we're texting all the time. And I am grateful for that, right? I'm grateful for the slowness. We're flirting. We're supposed to hike soon. Like, I'm grateful for that. And because I don't want to jump into anything, in my experience, when you jump into something really quickly and you become really codependent really quickly, it does not work, and it usually implodes, and you know, it takes some time, but it will implode. And so I'm grateful for the slowness of it. I'm grateful that, yeah, I'm mostly grateful for that it's just like day at a time. I'm keeping it simple, because my you know, ACA shit, my like my defects, I don't, whatever you want to call them, I will make up a relationship, not make up, but like jump head first and be this, that like this guy is it. And I will like heels in the sand, be like, this is perfect no matter what. And like going, and I've been in so many like whirlwind relationships where we meet and then all of a sudden we're in love and we're like attached at the hip. I've done that so many times, and it's not healthy. It's not healthy, and it's not good. And I'm just really grateful for the slowness of this, because keeping it simple is, I like texting him and I can't wait to hang out with him and get to know him more. And it's nice to have a little crush. Also, he's like stupid hot. Like he's like stupid handsome, which is, you know, kind of scary. But it's all scary. It's all scary. My whole life right now, and I don't mean just this guy. I mean my whole life is just like one big outside my comfort zone. I am planning my Thailand trip. I'm waiting a couple of days. I was told that on the 22nd, Thailand is going to make another announcement. Just because COVID, all the regulations keep changing. Like you have to get insurance, you have to get a pass. Once you land, you have to quarantine for 24 hours. But I'm told on the 22nd, they're going to lift a bunch of that. So yeah, but my whole life is just one big, I'm just living outside the comfort zone. But you know what? As a result, so much cool shit is happening. So much cool shit. I'm getting new headshots on Monday. I'm getting new headshots on Monday. I'm getting new headshots. This is a photographer that has done a lot of actors I know in Los Angeles. And she is an actress, and we're on the phone, and she's like, yeah, if you want to look at my IMDb, internet movie database, for those of you not in the industry. I don't know if that's common knowledge. I don't know if I knew that before I moved to Los Angeles, but she's like, if you want to look me up on that, you can see, you know, my credits or whatever. Dude, she was Laura Moser in fucking Dexter. She played Dexter's mom. Which, speaking of, have you guys seen Dexter? Like the new blood? I don't want to give any spoiler alerts. Any spoilers. I know it ended like a year ago, but I just recently watched it, and it was just, I mean, the very last 10 minutes was pretty good. Like where it was like the last, like, 10 minutes, you were like, yeah, this is how it should go. But leading up to that, it was just like, okay. I don't know. I'm curious. Most people I know didn't watch it, so I have no idea what I'm saying right now. So I'm getting my headshots. I got some outfits for it. Oh yeah, my agent wants me to do my own makeup, and I have never, guys, how am I out of stories? I'm not out of stories. I'm just like, my mind is racing. And after this, I'm gonna do post, you know, crawl space. And then I got to write up a thing that I'm going to put on my social medias about Anna. And I don't know. It's just, you know, you want to, I'm pretty good at writing from the heart, but I just want to make sure that I get my point across. And, you know, so I just have my brain is all over the fucking place, and I have a cat on its way over. I have so funny, but yeah, my agent wants me to do my own makeup, and he was just like, it's better. I'm going to email him, double check that today, but that means I had to buy foundation. I have not bought foundation in 20 years. I've not put on my own foundation in 20 years. Anytime I wear foundation, it's because I'm getting my makeup done for a job. I just don't wear it. I put on BB cream and then I cover up like anything I like. If I have like a zit with like concealer, but I bought Estee Lauder. I used to be this manager at Big Wings named Esteban, and I had such a crush on him. He was like a foot shorter than me. Esteban. I think he opened a bar restaurant in Lake Tahoe. I wonder if that's still going well. I saw him in early 2020 or mid 2020 when my friend Wayne passed away. He was friends with Wayne. We had like a little get together, and I saw him then. And I think he thinks I'm kidding. And I'm like, man, I had a big ass crush on you. I tower. I literally am a foot taller than him. Literally a foot. And I don't know what it is about this guy, but I'm like, Esteban. So I got Estee Lauder foundation, and I put it on, and I took some pictures of myself outside just to see what it looked like in natural light. And dude, I think I can do my own makeup. I think it's going to work out. The eyelashes I have on right now, I can't wear cartoon princess eyelashes for this because, commercial teachers and moms don't have cartoon like Bambi eyelashes. But other than that, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Did I ever tell you guys about my best friend and I in high school? So a running theme for me in the last, I don't know, I'm going to say several months, I talk about it on here a lot, is the friends in my life that have come and gone, right? The people that like today is the anniversary also of 2 years ago today. I was on the Kim and Ken show, and I had a big meltdown on live radio. I think that's all been taken down, so sorry you can't listen to it. But by the way, it was in my opinion, still it was a warranted meltdown, but it caused a fight, caused an end to the show, and a lot of the people on that show who worked on the background, people that worked in the background, I'm not really friends with anymore. Ken and I are cool. We don't talk much or see each other much, but we're fine. But like a running theme in the last several months for me has just been looking at like friends come and go, and just like how wild it is that some people just like leave your life. My best friend from high school, she and I were so close. I mean, like, where it was like friends forever. We used to, so I wrote this down. I have my list of shit I want to, anytime I want to talk about, I just like write it down, and I have the list, and I wrote calling the hotlines with Catherine and the Rebel Medallion. So I used to ride the bus in Colorado, to and from school, like the school bus, some days, but sometimes I think the school bus, I think I got to school too early some days, and I think I got to I had to get to school too early some days, so I took the like public transit, and then I would take the regular school bus home, right? But I took the bus a lot, and I can't remember, but one time I was riding on the bus. It was called the RTD. That's the bus in Colorado, or Denver. And I'm riding on the RTD, and this like a bunch of high school kids from another high school are on it. And there's one guy who is not, he's obviously not a popular person, right? And then the other guys are all obviously popular people. You have in your head what I mean by that. We all know high school is high school, whatever, right? So he's the nerdy guy is sitting there, the nerdy guy, whatever. That's who I kind of was too. So it doesn't, but he's sitting there, and I'm observing the whole thing. And the popular guys are like kind of picking on him, like not like towards like really mean, but they're obviously making fun of him and being mean to him. And he stops them, and he goes, I don't care what you guys think, because I'm wearing my Rebel medallion. And then he pulls out this big fucking medallion from under his shirt, and it's just like, and then they pulls it out and like displays it, and he's not kidding. He's not kidding, and they don't know what to say, and I am dying. I am laughing so hard to myself because my Rebel medallion. So I went home that day, and I tell Catherine about the Rebel medallion. And she's like, we need our own Rebel medallions. And I'm like, I think so too. So I think she had to have made them. She made the Rebel medallions, and then she gave me, like, she cut it in half, and she gave me one, and she had the other, and we used to wear them around. And one day we got in this huge fight, and she's like, and I want my Rebel medallion back. And I was like, you wouldn't. It was like such a, like, it was, and we weren't kidding. It was like this, like, this woman, I wish her well. I think like, and I don't think anything, in my head, there's no bad blood. I don't think. I mean, she matched on match.com randomly with my best friend Mark, who I talked about a couple of weeks ago. So my best friend from college, my best friend from high school matched on match.com. And it did not end well, and I'll leave it at that. But it did not end well, and it's not that I took his side, but I kind of took his side, right? They're just two very different people, and Mark is literally one of the best people I've ever met in my life, and she's always, there's always been a little drama around her. I'm trying to like tiptoe around it because I don't know if she listens, and I don't have any bad blood for her. I don't have any bad blood towards her. I think it was just one of those things that she got married and had kids, and I don't, when before she got married and had kid, I think she just has one kid. I don't actually know if she's married to that guy or not, but she used to come out here once a year, once every couple of years. And the older we got, the more those trips weren't as fun because we were just very different. And yeah, that we just were very different people. And so it is like, it's interesting that like, but that rebel medallion, so when we met, she was a sophomore. Was she a sophomore and I was a senior? I think so. Yeah. So my senior year of high school, I stopped being a cheerleader and I got to do some of the plays, right? That was really exciting, but I like quit being friends with my group of friends just because, well, they weren't very nice to me and I was tired of them not being very nice to me. They were not very nice to me and they worshiped that older girl I think I've talked about before, Brandy, who was like 2 years older than us, and they just like worshiped her, which is so bizarre. One of them is the Naked Checkers episode. She unfriended me, I think, because she's still, I actually still have no idea why she unfriended me, but I stopped being their friend that senior year because they just weren't very nice to me, and I was tired of feeling bad, right? Which kudos to 17-year-old Kim for having the courage to do that. But it was like such a cool like universe worked out, right? It always works out because I was sad for a little bit about not being their friend, but I'd been going through it with them for like 2 years of them not being very nice to me and me putting up with a bunch of shit. And so finally I stopped being their friend. And I think like the week or two after I stopped being friends with them, my stepsister moved in with my mom and stepdad. And so she came to my high school and, now I had a friend and she was 2 years younger, but who cares? Now I have a friend, right? And she's my sister and it was awesome. And I picked her up for school every day. And then I made friends with this other group of people. I don't remember how I came to become friends with them, but it was like, I don't have any friends. And this girl, Renee, and this girl, Tiffany, were like, oh, you want to eat lunch with us? And then I became friends with them. And Tiffany, dude, I wish I could find Tiffany. She was so fucking funny. Like one of the funniest friends I've ever had in my life. Tiffany Lovelace, if you're fucking listening to this, reach out to me, dude. One of my favorite friends of my life. She called me Buffy, which was really nice because I was really gunning to get everyone in my life to call me Buffy. It was pointed out to me then. It's been pointed out to me several times since. You cannot coin your own nickname. People do not respond well to that, which I don't understand why you can't do that. But she called me Buffy, and in all my yearbooks, she signed it, my best friend, Buffy. So nice. You guys know I have my own Buffy the Vampire Slayer fiasco. And so, yeah, so like I don't remember how it came about, but they were like, come eat lunch with us. And then my stepsister, Jennifer, came to school. So it was so wild. It was just like kismet, I think the word is, or, just like serendipitous because I like had the courage to just, and it kind of goes with everything. I was talking to my friend yesterday about this, and it kind of just like, anytime you take a leap, a net appears, anytime it just does. And it may not look the way you want it to at first. It may not feel, but you're always taken care of. You know what I mean? Or you're not, and then you died. You know what I mean? That sounds really grim, but I just mean, as long as you're still here, you're being taken care of in some way, and everything works out the way it's supposed to. I'd wanted to not be friends with these girls for years, but I thought if I'm not friends with them, then I won't have any friends. And then one day, I don't remember exactly what they did. It was like, I think it was like one of those times where I asked them if I could hang out with them on the weekend that I was going to go over to my mom's house. And I was like, I'm not allowed to call anybody, but if you guys call me, my mom will let me go. But she's been, she was, I don't know if she was drinking at the time or something. I don't know. Something happened to where it was just an especially bad weekend at her house. And I came to school on Monday and they hadn't called me, but they all had like they were talking about how much fun they all had together on the weekend. It was like something like that where I was like, I'm done. I am done. And I remember I was sitting next to two of them in a history class, and they were talking about where they wanted to go eat lunch. So uncomfortable. I like kudos bravery to like 17-year-old Kim for just holding her ground and like standing up for herself. I sometimes look at that girl and I'm like, man, I really admire how brave she was and how she just stood up for herself. Right. So they were talking about, their great weekend. And then I don't know if I did it right away, but so the day that I stopped talking to them, they were talking about where they wanted to go to lunch that day. And I just was like, I'm not going to eat lunch with you guys today. I am going to make my own plans. And that was it. We just did not talk to each other again until I think later senior. I mean, obviously we're all fine now, whatever. But like, so I made these friends, and then my stepsister came to the school, and then we were really into NSYNC, right? Like way into NSYNC, like a sad amount of being into NSYNC. Like I think most 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds were in the 90s. And so Jennifer came to me one day, and she's like, I made friends with this girl, Catherine. She's really cool. She's in my grade, but she's 16, or no, she's 15. Was I 16? I might have been a junior and she was a freshman. I don't know. The timeline, guys, this was like 20 years ago. Just bear with me. I'm just telling a story. Yeah, I was 16 because she was 15 and she was going to be 16 and then I was going to be 17. So like in my head, like now it doesn't matter because it's only 2, but back then that was like a lifetime, eons between ages, right? So I was like, I couldn't be friends with a freshman, but I could be friends with a freshman if she almost had a license, right? So she introduced me to Catherine, and Catherine and I, it was one of those friendships. We were just meant to be friends. She was much, much cooler than I was. She was a really cool freshman, and I was not but she was weird. And we started, and she was the one who was always really, was into getting kicked out of places with me. Like we would go places and see how long it would take us to get kicked out. And she was just always game for anything. And I remember one time we went to this place, we would go to this place called Funplex in Littleton, Colorado all the time. Not a cool place, right? It was like Dave and Buster's, but in the 90s. And it just really wasn't a cool place, but we were there every weekend until we got banned for 6 months for stealing a ball. And then we just never really went back. And now it's like something else. I don't know, but man, it had a roller skating rink, mini golf, video games, a bowling alley. Dude, I don't know why it was more popular, but it really, laser tag, that's where we went a lot. And so yeah, she and I went one night, and we just used to try and like freak out the patrons, right? In any possible way we could. Any way we could, we try and freak them out. And I can't remember exactly what we did, but we were running from someone that we were freaked out. And I borrowed a pair of her pants because she was tall too, but her parents allowed her to buy pants that fit. Whereas my dad said that they were too expensive, even though that guy did not lack for money, but he did not want to spend a lot of money on my pants, even though I was a very tall, whatever. I worked through that resentment. So, but she let me wear her pants, and we were running through Funplex, and we jumped behind. There was like a stage area. This place was so fucking big. It was 2 stories. There was like a stage area, but no one was on the stage. So we like hid behind the stage, and we were laughing so hard, and I peed her pants, and we were like brand new friends. And I had to tell her that I wet. Not only telling someone that you barely know that's much cooler than you and younger than you that you peed your pants, that's embarrassing enough. But then having to say that I've peed your pants, that's a whole other ball game. So I told her, and you know what's really fucked up? She was like, I can never wear these pants again, but I'm not giving them to you. And I'm sure now, but she was like I thought a 15-year-old girl. So here's the thing. So then something happened between her and my sister, and I don't know what it is. I'm sure I knew then. I don't know now. But my sister did not like that she and I were so close. And she was like, so she comes to me one afternoon. She goes, I hear that Catherine was lying about her age. She's actually 15, or she's actually 14. And I was like, oh, but at that point, Catherine and I were such good friends that I like didn't care. And I was like, oh, it's weird that she lied about that. She must have had a reason. So we go tell Catherine that Jennifer tells me that she's lying. And she's like, I'm not lying. And she fucking doubles down. She's like, I'm not fucking lying. And like, I mean, gets her mom on board, it turns out later in life, I found out that Catherine had kind of a lying problem, but like, she was like, doubles down. And my sister gets so upset about the whole thing. She ends up moving back to Missouri with her mom. And it's like this huge deal. And my mom and stepdad's house, right? Like it's like a big deal because like his daughter was coming to, it was like a huge, it was 25 years ago. I'm sure all the feelings are, I mean, I'm friends with everybody on Facebook. That's how we gauge it, right? If we're all fine, we're all friends on Facebook. So I'm just kidding. But so she moves away and Catherine still is like doubled down on the whole thing. So when Catherine's quote 16th birthday comes, I get her these big ass balloons. I make this huge card. Like I do this whole thing. I show up at her house. It's so funny because she had this little like ceramic thing. Her and her brother had these like matching like ceramic booties or something like that. One was blue with his birthday and one was pink with her birthday. And I was like, that's weird. That says 1984. Wouldn't you have been born in 1983 if you were turning 16 this year? And she was like, oh, that's a typo. I was like, a typo on your thing? I believed her. I blindly believed her. And then, I don't know, she turned 16, but she was like, my mom says I can't drive until I'm 17 because she doesn't think I'm responsible enough, which I still didn't put the dots together. Look, it's not that I wasn't smart. I just like, I don't know. I just assumed, why would someone lie about that, right? And so I can't remember. I would say about 6 months after her quote 16th birthday, she came and she gave me this big letter, and which was really funny because I probably still have that letter in a box above my head. This like, a note, and it's this long thing about how much I mean to her and that she lied and she's really only 15. And that she understands if I never, like, teenage girls are so dramatic. It's so funny because she was terrified to give it to me. She was like, I understand if you never want to be my friend again. And she was, look, basically it started out, she lied about her age because she was getting a job at a place and her mom signed a thing saying that she was older than she actually was. And then Jennifer wanted a job at that same place. So Catherine was just scared she was going to tell them the truth. And then she goes, and then she was such an asshole about the whole thing that I just decided to double down. And then she goes, and then she moved away over it. And then she goes, and I was freaked out that you were never going to be my friend again because your sister moved away from this big lie. Now, look, my sister moved away for many, many other reasons. Besides that, and that's another story for another day, or her story to tell. But she was like, and then we were just friends. But that friendship was just like one of my favorite. I think I did give her back her rebel medallion, and it was like a big fight where it was just basically like, I will never recover from this. And she's like, it doesn't matter because I don't want to be her friend. And then we ended up making up. And then I don't know, whatever. We had forgotten about those rebel medallions. But the point of this whole story, I mean, also is just like how wild it is that friends come and go. And like, I think like I was always under this impression, I don't know if impression is the right word, but I was always under this like feeling that like, if someone leaves your life, it has to be because there's like a dramatic falling out, and the last several months that I've been doing this new peeling of the onion work, I've realized that like sometimes people just grow apart. Sometimes it's just not, it doesn't have to be a big dramatic reason. I mean, yeah, there are people that are no longer in my life, and there was a big dramatic reason. But like for the most, but it's funny too. Like when I work through my step 8 and 9, which is making a list of the amends and making amends, I wrote down all those people that I was scared. Like I wrote down everybody I was scared, I would be scared to see in public, right? Everyone that I was like, was nervous about seeing, because that would mean there was something on my side that wasn't clean. And so I made apologies and amends to all those people. And so it's interesting because I can't tell you exactly. It might be because she dated my friend Mark and it didn't go well and she thinks I took his side, or it may be that we just are different humans. I've never met her daughter, which is wild. Her daughter's like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5. It's just been a running theme. And I think I used to think like, if you're not keeping in touch with everyone that was always important to you, then, but that's just not how it goes. And all the people that have come and gone in my life, Catherine especially, I wish nothing but the best. Like one of her biggest things is she wanted kids. And there was some time where that seemed like it was not going to happen. And then she got pregnant and now she has this daughter. And it's just so, it just doesn't always have to be, this like, why aren't we, whatever. I just wish her the best of luck. But I wrote the thing that made me launch into this, besides the whole looking at, friendships that are, dominant in my life or fallen into the wayside. I wrote down, we used to call the hotlines. So in the 90s, I will leave you with this. And then as I promised, a poop scoop. In the 90s, late 90s, the dating apps were not apps. Obviously, we didn't have the cell phones like that, but they were hotlines. Does anybody, I mean, most of us that are listening to this were in like high school, but they're these hotlines where you would like leave a message about yourself, right? You would leave a message about yourself and someone, and then it was like dudes would call in if they liked you, and if you liked them, you could connect. It was like a Bumble situation though, where the women were like in charge, right? And it was for 18 and over. And Catherine and I would spend at least one time a weekend, every weekend, one of the nights a weekend, sitting on this hotline. And we would call and we would be like, "Hi, I'm Candy, and I'm here with my friend Cookie. We're looking to do something tonight." And then we would just see how fucking weird we could get before a dude would not want to meet us. And by the way, I don't think we ever got to the weirdest. I mean, we would get to the point where we were like, I have one of our favorite lines to say is that we had not washed our left boob in 10 years because Don King touched it. And we were really big Don King fans. I don't even know if we were, and we would go on and on about how dirty our boob had gotten because we just refused to put any soap on it. And we got kicked off the hotline before any dude stopped talking to us. Dudes were like, whatever, there's two of you and you're freaks. Great. But normally we would get kicked off. And then one fateful day, her phone number was permanently banned because they caught on to who we were. And then there was an automated message that were like, it's something like, we believe you're not 18 years old. If we are incorrect, you can fax us your driver's license for proof and we can let you back on the site, or not site, because there wasn't really internet. Man, but that was hours and hours of laughter. And the first time I hung out with Catherine by myself without my sister, she invites me over to her house. This is like the first day of like a beautiful friendship, right? I go, she's like, "Oh, my bedroom's the top of the stairs, take a right and it's in the back room. Just go ahead and make yourself comfortable. I'll be up there in a minute." And I was like, okay. So I go up there and she has a water bed. She has like a single water bed. And then she has a beanbag that takes up the rest of the room. And then there's like a little spot on the floor, enough for her and I to both sit, right? And then the beanbag and the massive beanbag and the waterbed are covered in stuffed animals. And then her walls, you know how when you're a teenage girl, your walls are covered in posters. And then when you get a new thing you love, you put a new kind of, you take down like Leo DiCaprio and you put up Justin Timberlake. She never took down the old. She would just put Justin over Leo, or Jodie Sweetin was in there for some reason, the person who plays Stephanie from Full House. So her walls were like a centimeter thick of posters that have been put on top of that. She was just too lazy or didn't want to bother pulling them down. And so I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it, and the room is full of Dr. Pepper cans. And she was like my first like cool friend, right? She was so cool. She was really popular in her grade. And so I'm like, okay. And she comes upstairs with 2 Dr. Peppers, 2 forks, and a massive cake that's shaped like a taco, and hands me a Dr. Pepper and a fork, sits down on the floor, opens up the cake and just starts eating the cake. And then looks up at me like, "What are you waiting for?" And I'm like, yeah, all right. And I go down there and I take, and we sat there and we ate that taco cake and we laughed and we laughed. And I just, friends come and go, man. And it doesn't have to be dramatic. And if I saw this woman, I would love to hug this woman and meet her kid. And I'm sure she feels the same. I think I heard from her when I wrote the book and she was like, I'm really proud of you. I bought the book. I can't wait, but it's been a theme in my brain lately as I've, sifting through this new layer of therapy stuff. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. Are you guys ready for this poop scoop? I haven't read it yet. I read the first part of the email because a lot of the emails that I get are poop scoop, but then there's also like a couple paragraphs where you guys say hi, and I won't read that. I won't read that. But as you know, I like to read the oh my God, my makeup still looks kind of good. That's great news. I like to read the poop scoop like live without me, reading through it. So here we go. Are you ready? I'm very excited. So this is a woman I went to high school with, and yeah, that's fine. A woman I went to high school with, my friend and her cat are on their way here, but I'm gonna wrap up soon, so it's fine. I love that I don't Jeff May that I do the Patreon with. He's always he likes to edit, and I just never edit. I just don't edit. So here's a poop scoop. Are you ready? And if you guys want to send me a poop scoop, you know how happy, like you heard how in a good mood I was when I got in here. It's because someone sent me a poop scoop and someone from my past, which is so exciting. Send me a poop scoop. So please, if you've pooped your pants, come close to it, or have an embarrassing poop story, please send it to me at kimcrawlspace@gmail.com. Kim Kral, SPACE @gmail.com. All right, here we go. This poop scoop is anonymous because it's not actually my story, but it's a good one. Back in our, and it doesn't have to be your story either. And I won't say your name if you don't want me to. You can tell me. Okay, now I'll keep going. Back in our early 20s, my sister and her boyfriend, her then boyfriend, now husband, lived in a house near downtown. We nicknamed it the frat house because it was a lot of fun. Drunken times were had there. Also, you guys know I don't know how to read. After one particularly drunken night, her boyfriend apparently got out of bed to use the restroom. The problem was that in his drunken stupor, he had forgotten where the bathroom was. Oh man, so many people have this problem. The next day, when one of them showered and went to get dressed, they were met with 2 logs of poop in the dresser drawer. He had gotten out of bed, walked over to the dresser, pooped in a drawer, shut the drawer, and then returned to bed. Just another fun night at the frat house. I love it. Thank you. I love that the drunken logic, and this is like normal drunken logic. A lot of people have just peed or pooped in a drawer. Like I do this. This is how I spend a lot of my life. A lot of my life is talking about poop, and I've heard it all. And one of the common things is people do it in drawers. That's so funny that they open a drawer, because you don't have to open anything to poop in something, right? In the toilet, like I guess you lift the lid, but like, I don't know. It's so good. I have questions about the consistency of the poop, but I'll spare everyone. I just always wonder, was it just, I guess it's logs. So it's probably just like regular logs. I don't know. If I pooped in a drawer when I was drunk, I'd have to replace the whole thing. Yuck. Okay, that's been your poop scoop. Yay! Thank you so much. I cannot tell you how happy and excited I was to get this email. So excited. Yeah, send me an email, kimcrawlspace@gmail.com. Say hi or send me a poop scoop. You know how happy they make me. So that is the show, everyone. I'm going to end by saying, I'm one lucky broad. I'm just one lucky broad, man. I don't know. Life is pretty rad. One of my best friends in the world, Jess, is coming tomorrow to spend the day before she goes to Coachella. We're just gonna have, we have like a big old school Big Wang's day planned. We're gonna go to Big Wang's in North Hollywood, have some wang bangers, then bring some quesadillas and wings back to my pool and just like eat food by the pool, and then have like a day. And just life is fucking good, dude. Like I said, most of my life is out of the comfort zone. I live out of the comfort zone now, and that'll probably be the title of this show or episode. And I'm very scared every day, but I'm meditating, I'm checking in, I'm doing the work. And the more I'm out of my comfort zone and the more I'm leaping, the more the fucking net's appearing. So I'm one lucky broad that at this stage in my life, I've arrived, you know? I mean, I don't have, or I'm not doing everything I want to do yet, but I'm in the right direction. I'm who I want to be. I'm becoming more and more her all the time. You know what I mean? I'm just so grateful. And then I look over to my left and I have the cutest, sweetest animal in the world. And then I have a cute little jittery one that is my angel. So I'm one lucky broad. And I'm one lucky broad for all of you. All right, guys, that's the show. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If you don't already, follow me on everything. Kim Kral, Kymkral. I have a Patreon now. I have 2 bonus episodes a month. One about my sexual revolution, and the other one is with comedian Jeff May. You get access to these episodes early. If you're a certain member, if you're a certain tier, you get a signed bikini photo. If you just want that bikini photo, you can Venmo me $10 and with your address and who you want me to make it out to. Kim Kral, Kymkral. Sending out a batch of those today. Yeah, so I'd love it if you're able to join Patreon. The support means so much to me. If not, I love that you're listening here. If you can leave me a rating, a review, that'd be awesome. I think that is it. I think that's it. I will put up all the information about the play at the Hudson Theater if you're in Los Angeles on my Facebook and Instagram. And I think that's all, everybody. Be safe, be kind. See you guys next week. Bye. Crawl space, I'm Kral.